Hello everyone, welcome to the Asean My Cyber Hero 2025 workshop. For your information, the Asean My Cyber Hero 2025 program is organized by Microconcept Tech SDN, PhD, in collaboration with the National Cyber Security Agency, NACSA. It also receives cooperation from Alpha Integrated Solution SDN PhD and support from the Ministry of Education Malaysia, KPM, My Digital Maker, and the Malaysia Digital Economy Corporation, MDEC. We're here today to explore some very important topics. We'll learn how technology works, how we connect through the internet, and most importantly, how we can protect ourselves in the digital world. By the end of this workshop, you will understand the basics of computer science, how computer networks and the internet function, what cyber attacks are, and how to defend yourself against them. Today, our main focus is cybersecurity. This term refers to the practice of protecting computer systems, networks, and data from digital threats. Think of it as keeping your digital information and devices safe from harm. Understanding cybersecurity is crucial in our world, where so much of what we do involves technology. To help us cover everything clearly, we've organized our workshop into 4 main parts. Each part will build on the previous one, giving you a full understanding of the topic. First, we'll discuss the theory of computer science. This explains the basic ideas behind how computers operate. Next, we'll look at the theory of computer networks and the internet. This covers how computers connect and share information. Then, we'll talk about the theory of cyber attack recovery. This explains what to do if a cyber attack happens. Finally, we'll learn about the theory of cyber attack defense. This focuses on how to protect yourself and prevent attacks. Let's start with our first topic. Our first main topic is the theory of computer science. This section will teach you the fundamental ideas of how computers work. Understanding these basics is very important for understanding why cybersecurity is so vital. We'll start by defining what a computer actually is. So, what is a computer? A computer is an electronic device that can store and process information. It takes in instructions, which we call code, as its input. Once it has this code, the computer then manipulates this information to produce various outputs. This includes creating programs, software, and instruction sequences. The computer's main goal is to generate information for output. This means it gives us results, like showing you a picture on a screen or printing a document. It can also store information from input for future use, so you can save your work and access it later. In short, a computer is a powerful tool for handling and transforming data. Now that we know what a computer is, let's look at how computers have evolved over time. They've changed a lot through different technological periods, known as generations. The first generation of computers was developed between 1940 and 1956. These early computers were very large and used vacuum tubes as their main components. Vacuum tubes were big, used a lot of electricity, and produced a lot of heat, which often caused problems. Despite these challenges, they were the beginning of modern computing. Moving to the second generation of computers, from 1956 to 1963, we saw a big change. This period introduced the transistor. Transistors were much smaller, more reliable, and used less power than vacuum tubes. This invention allowed computers to become smaller, faster, and more efficient, which was a significant improvement. The third generation of computers, from 1964 to 1971, brought another major breakthrough: the integrated circuit, or IC. An integrated circuit is a tiny chip that contains many transistors and other electronic parts all on one small piece. This allowed for even smaller, faster, and more powerful computers, making them more common and leading to the development of early personal computers. The fourth generation is a very important period, starting from 1971 and continuing to the present day. This generation is known for the Central Processing Unit, CPU. being placed on a single microchip, which we call a microprocessor. The CPU is like the brain of the computer. This development made personal computers widely available and affordable, changing how we work, learn, and live our daily lives. We are now in the fifth generation of computing, which includes developments from the present day and into the future. This generation is characterized by advancements in artificial intelligence, AI, and machine learning. These technologies allow computers to do tasks that usually require human intelligence, such as understanding language, recognizing images, and making decisions. AI and machine learning are constantly expanding what computers can do in many different areas. Every computer, whether it's a large desktop or a small phone, has two main parts, hardware and software. Understanding these two parts is key to understanding how computers work. Hardware refers to the physical parts of a computer that you can see and touch. These are the tangible components that make the computer function. Hardware is divided into many types, including input devices and output devices, which we'll discuss next. Examples of hardware include the motherboard, the main circuit board, the central processing unit, CPU, the main processor, the graphics card, for visuals, random access memory, RAM, for temporary storage, USB ports, for connecting devices, and the monitor, for display. Software, on the other hand, is a set of instructions, data, or programs that tell the hardware what to do. It is intangible, you cannot touch it. Software controls how the computer operates. Examples include operating systems like Windows 11, web browsers like Google Chrome, security programs like antivirus, media players, productivity tools like Microsoft Word, photo editing software like Photoshop, and video games. Both hardware and software must work together perfectly for a computer to be useful. Let's now look closely at two important types of hardware, input devices and output devices. These devices allow us to interact with computers, and for computers to give us information back. An input device is used to send information or data to the computer. You, the user, control these devices. When you type on a keyboard, click a mouse, or speak into a microphone, you are using an input device to send data into the computer system. Common examples are a webcam for video, a mouse for pointing, a keyboard for typing, and a microphone for sound. An output device is used to send the processed information or data results from the computer to the outside world. These devices are controlled by the computer itself, showing us the results of its work. For example, a projector displays images, speakers produce sound, and a laser or inkjet printer prints documents. Both input and output devices are essential for us to use computers effectively. We've learned about what computers are and how they've developed. Now, let's move on to our second main topic, the theory of computer networks and the Internet. In this section, we will explore how computers connect and share information, not just within a single place, but across the entire world. Understanding networks and the Internet is crucial for understanding how we communicate digitally, and how cybersecurity protects these connections. A network consists of two or more computers or devices that are connected together to share information. These computers or devices can be connected by physical wires, cables, or wirelessly, within a specific physical location like a home or an office. A key point is that a network usually only covers a certain amount of distance, like within one building or a small area. The Internet, on the other hand, is a global system that connects computer networks all around the world. It uses special communication rules called the TCP/IP communication protocol to allow devices to talk to each other. Because it's global, the Internet can be accessed from almost anywhere in the world, connecting millions of devices and networks together. So, while a network is a connection in a smaller area, the Internet is a massive, worldwide network of networks. When we talk about networks, you'll often hear about LAN and WAN. These are two common types of computer networks. LAN stands for Local Area Network, This type of network connects devices within a limited and small area. LANs are commonly used in places like homes, offices, or school campuses. Their purpose is to connect multiple devices so they can exchange data and communicate with each other efficiently over short distances. WAN stands for Wide Area Network. This network is designed to connect multiple LANs over long distances, allowing devices to communicate across a much wider area. WANs connect devices across large geographic regions, such as different cities, countries, and even continents. The Internet itself is the largest example of a WAN. So, while LANs are for local connections, WANs stretch across larger distances. To make the differences between LAN and WAN even clearer, let's compare them directly. A LAN covers a limited, small area, connecting a group of computers typically within one building or a small campus. Because it's local, the cost to set up and maintain a LAN is generally cheaper. Also, data sharing within a LAN is usually faster, as the distances are short and connections are direct. In contrast, a WAN covers a large, wide area, connecting multiple LANs together to form a very large network. Because it covers vast distances, and involves more complex infrastructure, the cost for a WAN is typically higher. Data sharing over a WAN is generally slower, compared to a LAN, due to the longer distances and the need for data to travel through many different connections. When connecting to a network, you usually use either Ethernet or Wi-Fi. These are two common technologies for network access. Ethernet is a wired networking technology that connects devices in a local area network, LAN. It uses a physical LAN cable to connect devices, such as your computer, to a network. Ethernet connections are commonly used in homes or offices, where devices can be physically connected. Wi-Fi is a widely used wireless networking technology. Unlike Ethernet, it uses radio waves to connect devices to a network without needing physical cables. This allows for greater flexibility, and Wi-Fi is very common for internet access in homes, schools, and public places. Let's compare Ethernet and Wi-Fi to understand their specific benefits. Ethernet uses a physical cable for connection. This usually results in faster and more efficient data transfer speeds, because the connection is direct and stable. Ethernet is also generally considered more secure, because it's a closed, wired connection. However, its connection is limited to the length of the physical cable, meaning your device must be physically connected. Wi-Fi, on the other hand, provides a wireless network connection. It typically has lower data transfer speeds compared to Ethernet, as radio waves can be affected by interference. Wi-Fi requires security protocols like passwords to protect your connection from unauthorized access. The main advantage of Wi-Fi is its greater connection range over wireless networks, allowing you to connect devices from different places within a certain area without needing cables. To build and manage networks, various network devices are used. Let's look at some of the most common ones. A modem is a device that connects your home or office network to an Internet Service Provider, or ISP. It's what brings the Internet connection into your building, by converting computer data into signals that can be sent over the Internet, and vice versa. A router connects wired and wireless devices to a network. It also connects your local network to a modem to access the Internet. A router's key job is to manage traffic between your local network and the Internet, allowing many devices to share the same Internet connection efficiently. A hub is a simpler device that connects multiple wired devices to a local area network, or LAN. It essentially increases the number of devices you can connect to a LAN. by allowing all connected devices to share information with each other. A switch is a more advanced device than a hub. It also connects multiple wired devices to a local area network, or LAN, but it significantly improves the efficiency of the LAN. A switch does this by storing the MAC addresses of connected devices. This allows it to forward data packets only to the specific port and device that needs them, rather than sending them to all devices like a hub. A bridge is used to connect two or more networks, or LANs, to create a single, larger network connection. Its purpose is to reduce unnecessary traffic on each network segment. It does this by analyzing incoming traffic and deciding whether to allow or block data from communicating between different network segments. Finally, a LAN cable is the physical Ethernet wire or cable that connects devices to a local area network through devices like a hub, switch, or bridge. It provides the physical link for data transfer. An access point is used to connect and extend the coverage of a wireless network to the same network, or LAN. It effectively increases the number of wireless devices that can connect to that network, allowing you to have Wi-Fi in more areas of your home or school. A repeater is designed to extend the coverage and range of a network by amplifying the signal before retransmitting it. This is very useful when you have a weak Wi-Fi signal in certain areas. A repeater allows data to travel further without losing quality, whether it's over a cable segment or wirelessly, helping signals reach the correct destination device. A gateway is a device that acts as the entry and exit point for data in a network. Its main function is to convert data from one network protocol to another, which allows communication between networks that use different rules. Gateways also play a crucial role in security, by inspecting and filtering data packets, to help protect the network from threats. We've learned about different network devices. Now, let's see how they work together in real-life examples, starting with a typical computer network at home. In this picture, you can see the basic setup for a home network. We have a modem, a router, and a laptop. A home network usually involves only a few devices within a single house, so the setup is quite simple. The modem is what brings the internet connection into your home from your internet provider. This connection then goes to the router, using a LAN cable. The router is essential because it shares that single internet connection with all the devices in your house, whether they're connected by cable or wirelessly. Here, the laptop is connected to the internet through the router. This straightforward setup is perfect for a small number of devices, in a limited space like a home, allowing everyone to easily get online. Moving to a slightly larger scale, let's look at a computer network at school or in an office. Here, the network needs to support more users and more devices, which is why it looks a bit more complex than a home network. In this image, the internet is connected to the modem, which then connects to the router, just like at home. However, because there are many computers, a hub is connected to the router, allowing multiple workstations to share a connection. You'll also see a switch connected to the router. A switch is used instead of just hubs in larger networks, because it's much more efficient at directing data to the correct device, preventing slowdowns when many people are online. An access point is connected to the switch to provide wireless internet access for phones and tablets around the school or office. Lastly, a telephone is also connected, showing that even phone systems can be integrated into the network. This design allows for efficient communication, and shared resources for many devices within a single building or a few nearby areas. This slide illustrates a computer network in a larger school or a wide office. Here, the goal is to provide widespread network access across a bigger area, which might include multiple rooms, or even different sections of a large building. The setup begins with the internet connected to a DSL cable modem, and then to a wireless router. The wireless router is crucial here, as it creates the primary Wi-Fi signal. To ensure the signal reaches everywhere in a wide area, a wireless repeater is used. This device extends the range of the Wi-Fi. We also see various devices connecting wirelessly, a computer equipped with a wireless adapter, and a notebook equipped with a wireless PCMCA card. A computer equipped with a network adapter is also connected wirelessly, specifically to the wireless repeater, showing how repeaters help provide a strong signal, even at a greater distance from the main router. This design is chosen to provide flexible, cable-free internet access across a sprawling space, making it easy for users to connect from anywhere within range. Finally, let's look at a computer network in a school or a multiple stories building. In a building with many floors, simply having one router won't provide network access everywhere. This network design addresses that challenge. In this diagram, you can see how multiple devices are connected to a hub. And this hub then connects to a bridge. A bridge is specifically used here to connect different network segments. For example, networks on different floors, into one larger network. Each floor might have its own hub or switch, and these separate floor networks are then connected together using bridges. This allows devices on different floors to communicate with each other and share internet access seamlessly. This tiered approach ensures that a large, multi-story building can have a well-connected and efficient network system, even though it spans vertically across many levels. While the internet offers incredible benefits, it also comes with certain internet risks. It's crucial to be aware of these dangers to protect ourselves. One major risk is cybersecurity threats, which include hacking attacks. These are attempts to gain unauthorized access to computer systems or networks, often leading to the theft or corruption of data. Another risk is online fraud. Fraudulent schemes that aim to obtain money and personal information from unsuspecting individuals, often by tricking them. We also face exposure to harmful content, which means accidentally or intentionally accessing violent or inappropriate material, something that can be psychologically harmful. Finally, there's cyberbullying, which involves frightening or embarrassing someone online, and its impact can be very negative on a person's emotional and mental health, and sometimes even physical well-being. Understanding these risks is the first step to staying safe online. We've learned about the risks of the internet. Now, let's talk about safe ways to use the internet. There are important steps you can take to protect yourself and your information online. First, always ensure your software is updated. This means making sure your operating system, like Windows, and your web browsers, like Chrome, are always up to date. Software updates often include new security features that help protect against the latest threats. Second, use antivirus and anti-malware software. These programs are designed to protect your computer from harmful software and hackers. It's important to make sure this software is also updated regularly. Additionally, be very careful when downloading files. Only download software and files from websites you know and trust. Be especially careful when using public Wi-Fi networks. These are networks you find in cafes or shopping malls. Avoid logging into Wi-Fi networks that aren't password protected, as they are often less secure and can be easily accessed by others with bad intentions. Next, it's very important to use a strong password. A strong password should be at least 12 characters long and include a mix of uppercase and lowercase letters, numbers, and symbols. Also, try to avoid using the same password for every online account you have. If one account is compromised, all your other accounts would be at risk. Finally, consider using a virtual private network, VPN. A VPN helps to protect your connected devices and networks by creating a secure connection over the internet. It can also help to hide your IP address, making it harder for others to track your online activity. We've discussed how to stay safe online, but sometimes, despite our best efforts, a digital security incident can happen. This brings us to our third main topic, the theory of cyberattack recovery. This section will focus on understanding what cybercrime and cyberattacks are, and what steps we can take to recover if our security is compromised. Let's begin by defining cybercrime. Cybercrime is any malicious activity or attack carried out against IT infrastructure, such as computers and networks. These attacks are done with harmful intentions. The main goal of these attacks is often to gain unauthorized access to or take over part or all of a computer system or network from its rightful owner. This can lead to serious problems like data theft or damage. Building on cybercrime. Let's clarify what a cyberattack is. A cyberattack is the process of attempting to steal data or gain unauthorized access to computers and networks, usually by using one or more computers. It's the action of trying to break into a digital system. So, what is the objective or goal of a cyberattack? Hackers have several common objectives. One is the acquisition of control, meaning they want to take over your computer or network. Another is data theft, where they steal your personal information or important files. They might also aim for accessing services without permission, like using your email account. Sometimes, their goal is data destruction, which means deleting or ruining your files. And occasionally, cyberattacks are used for spreading political or ideological messages. Understanding these objectives helps us see why protection is so important. You've probably heard the term hacker. A hacker is an individual or a group who uses their knowledge of computers and networks, sometimes for bad purposes, but sometimes for good. It's important to know that not all hackers are the same. There are different types of hackers. Black hat hackers are those who engage in illegal hacking with malicious intent. They break into systems to cause harm, steal data, or for personal gain without permission. These are the bad hackers. White hat hackers, also known as ethical hackers, perform hacking with permission to strengthen security. They are cybersecurity experts who legally test systems to find weaknesses and help organizations fix them before malicious hackers can exploit them. They are the good hackers, working to protect us. Finally, grey hat hackers are those who hack without malicious intent but also without permission. They might find a vulnerability in a system and expose it without authorization, often to draw attention to security flaws, even though their actions might be illegal. Now, let's understand how hackers gain access to a victim's computer. There are several ways they can do this, depending on how close they are to the target. One method is by installing a USB drive directly onto the victim's computer. This happens when the hacker is physically with the victim's computer, perhaps by planting an infected USB stick. Another way is via the same Ethernet local area network as the victim's computer. In this case, the hacker is in the same physical area, like an office building, and connects to the same network as the victim. They can also access a computer through the same Wi-Fi local area network as the victim's computer. Here, the hacker needs to be in close physical proximity to the victim's computer to connect to the same Wi-Fi network. The most common method today is via the internet, from outside the victim's computer network. This means the hacker can be far away from the victim's computer, even in another country, and still try to access it through the global internet connection. Let's delve into different types of cyber attacks. These attacks often try to find weaknesses in networks or systems. We'll start with network attacks. One common type is a DOS and DDoS attack. A denial of service (DOS) attack works by flooding a server with so much traffic that it makes a website or online resource unavailable to legitimate users. A distributed denial of service (DDoS) attack is a DOS attack that uses multiple computers or machines, often hundreds or thousands, to flood a targeted resource simultaneously, making it much more powerful and difficult to stop. Another type is a man-in-the-middle (MITM) attack. In an MITM attack, a cyber attacker secretly intercepts and can even alter communications between two parties. Imagine someone secretly listening in on your conversation, and even changing what you say. The attacker can intercept sensitive data in transit, such as your login credentials, banking details, or private messages. Finally, we have remote desktop attacks. Remote Desktop Protocol (RDP) is a secure way to access and control a computer from a distance. In a remote desktop attack, an attacker tries to gain access to these RDP controls to take full control of the victim's computer, often without their knowledge. Next, let's look at identity attacks. These are cyber attacks specifically designed to target user credentials, such as usernames, passwords, and authentication tokens, to gain unauthorized access to systems or data. One common identity attack is brute force attacks. Brute force attacks are hacking methods that use trial and error. The attacker tries many different combinations of passwords or login credentials until they guess the correct one. This can be compared to trying every possible key until you find the one that unlocks a door. Another identity attack is keylogging. Keylogging occurs when an attacker records everything you type on your keyboard. This can be done through malicious software installed on your computer. The goal of keylogging is to obtain confidential information, such as your passwords, credit card numbers, or private messages, as you type them. Cyber threats don't always come from far away. Sometimes, they can involve insider threats and physical attacks, which are carried out physically or by people already inside an organization. One example is USB drive attacks. This is a type of cyber attack where a USB drive, often preloaded with harmful software called malware, is intentionally left in a public place. The goal is for an unsuspecting person to pick it up and insert it into a computer, allowing the malware to infect the system. Another category is system exploitation. This is the act of gaining unauthorized access to a computer system by taking advantage of its weaknesses. A common method of system exploitation is through a backdoor account. This is a secret account that might be installed on a machine, sometimes by a developer or administrator, to allow a user to gain access to resources while bypassing normal security steps. If a hacker finds this backdoor, they can use it to get into the system undetected. Now we come to social engineering. This is a very cunning type of malicious activity achieved through the psychological manipulation of human interaction. Instead of directly attacking a computer, social engineering tricks people into giving up sensitive information or doing something they shouldn't. One common social engineering attack is data phishing. In phishing attacks, cyber attackers trick targets into sharing sensitive information, downloading malware, or exposing themselves to other cybercrimes. This often involves fake emails or websites that look legitimate but are designed to steal your data. Another example is baiting. This is an attack where scammers use false promises to lure victims into a trap. This trap might involve tempting downloads, free offers, or attractive advertisements that, when clicked, can steal personal and financial information or infect systems with malware. They bait you with something desirable. Next, let's talk about malware. Malware is a general term for any program or code created with the intent to harm a computer, network, or server. It's short for malicious software. One common type of malware is a virus. A computer virus is a type of malware that can spread between computers by attaching itself to legitimate programs. Once it infects a system, it can cause damage to data and software, often copying itself to spread further. Another type is a Trojan, named after the famous wooden horse from Greek mythology. A Trojan is a type of malware that downloads onto a computer disguised as a legitimate, harmless program. Once you run it, it secretly performs harmful actions without your knowledge. Finally, ransomware is a particularly nasty type of software that uses encryption to disable a target's access to their data. It holds your files hostage, making them unreadable, until a ransom is paid, usually in cryptocurrency. If the ransom isn't paid, the data might be permanently lost. Let's clarify some terms related to malware attacks. As we discussed, malware, or malicious software, is software that is installed on a computer without permission, with the goal of stealing personal information or damaging the computer. A computer virus is a specific type of malware. It's software that is hidden inside other programs, and it has the ability to copy itself and spread throughout the system, infecting other files and programs. Beyond just viruses, there are many types of computer malware, each with its own way of causing harm. Ransomware encrypts your data and demands money. Spyware secretly collects your information. Adware displays unwanted advertisements. Worms spread quickly across networks. Trojans disguise themselves as useful programs. And botnets are networks of infected computers controlled by a hacker. Understanding how malware spreads is crucial for protecting yourself. Here are some common ways malware can infect computers. First, through email attachments. Many viruses and other malware are hidden in attachments sent via email. If a victim opens an infected attachment, the malware can activate. Second, via malicious downloads. Malware can be secretly included in downloads from untrusted websites. When you download something from an unsafe source, you might be downloading malware too. Third, through file sharing networks. Files shared via peer-to-peer, P2P, platforms or other file sharing services can often be infected with malware. Fourth, removable media, such as infected USB drives. If an infected USB drive is plugged into a computer, the malware can automatically transfer to the system. Fifth, through malicious websites. Some fake or compromised websites are designed to automatically download viruses or other malware to your computer just by visiting them, without you even clicking on anything. Finally, via network connections. Unsecured public Wi-Fi networks can sometimes be used by attackers to spread malware to connected devices, especially if those devices are not properly protected. You might hear the terms antivirus and anti-malware used interchangeably, but there are some important differences between them. Antivirus software is primarily designed to prevent, detect, and remove what we call classic malware, such as viruses, worms, and trojans. It also helps prevent malicious scripts from running within your system. Generally, antivirus software might not be updated as frequently as anti-malware, and by itself, it's not always enough to provide complete cybersecurity protection for your computer system. On the other hand, anti-malware software is broader. It detects and protects against a wider range of malware, including newer online threats that antivirus might miss. It proactively looks for and removes suspicious activities. Anti-malware software is usually updated very frequently, sometimes multiple times a day, to keep up with new malware created and released almost constantly. Because of this, anti-malware is often considered more reliable for overall cybersecurity protection on a computer system. It's often recommended to use both for comprehensive defense. Now that we understand different types of attacks, let's talk about cyber attack recovery. This refers to the specific processes, steps, and strategies implemented to restore your data, systems, and operations after a cyber attack has occurred. It's essentially a well-structured plan to rebuild and clean up after an incident. The main objective of cyber attack recovery is twofold. First, to avoid any further loss of data. This means promptly stopping the attack and ensuring no additional information is stolen or damaged. Second, to restore any data affected during the attack. This involves recovering files and systems to their normal, fully operational state prior to the incident. A key part of recovery is having a system backup. So, how do you recover data from a system backup? First, let's understand what a backup system is. A system backup is the process of making copies of your important files and system data. This is done to prevent data loss that could happen due to cyber attacks, system failures, or even accidental deletion. Think of it as making a duplicate set of all your important school notes, just in case. Now, what is the importance of a backup system? It's crucial for helping with data recovery after an attack. If your original data is compromised, you can use your backup to restore it. It helps in avoiding any data loss permanently. Even if your main computer is damaged, your backup ensures your files are safe. And finally, it's a great way to protect against malware attacks, especially ransomware, because if your files are encrypted, you can simply restore them from a clean backup instead of paying a ransom. There are different types of backup strategies that you can use to protect your data. A full backup. means making a complete copy of every selected file and folder on your system. This is the most comprehensive type of backup, but it takes the most time and storage space. An incremental backup is more efficient. After an initial full backup, it only backs up files that have changed since the last backup. As soon as those changes are made, this saves time and space. But restoring data can be a bit more complex, as you need the full backup, plus all the incremental backups. A differential backup also starts with a full backup. After that, it backs up all files that have changed since the last full backup. This means each differential backup includes all changes since the last complete save, making restoration quicker than incremental backups. But it uses more space than incremental backups. We've covered how to recover from an attack. Now, let's move to our final and perhaps most important topic: the theory of cyber attack defense. This section focuses on what we can do before an attack happens, to protect our information and digital systems. So, what is cyber attack defense? Cyber attack defense refers to the measures and strategies that are put in place to protect information and digital infrastructure from cyber threats and attacks. It's about building strong defenses to keep unwanted digital intrusions out. What are the objectives of cyber attack defense? The primary goal is safeguarding personal information and data. This means keeping your private details and files secure. Another key objective is avoiding any cyber attacks from happening in the first place, by making your systems difficult to breach. And finally, it aims at avoiding any data loss, by preventing theft, corruption, or destruction of your information. To understand how to defend against cyber attacks, it helps to know how attackers typically operate. This is often described using the 7 cyber kill chain, which outlines the common steps an attacker takes. The first one is reconnaissance. This is like spying. Hackers choose their targets, do research about them, and look for any weaknesses or vulnerabilities they can exploit. Second, weaponization. Here, the attacker creates their attack tools. This could involve building an exploit application, or designing malware specifically to enter the target system. Third, delivery. The attacker then sends their attack package to the target. This often happens through links in emails, phishing, malicious websites, or infected USB drives. The fourth step is exploitation. This is when the attack weapon successfully enters the target system, taking advantage of a vulnerability. Next, for the fifth step, installation. Once inside, the attack weapon installs tools, often called backdoors, to allow the hackers to easily get back into the system later. Sixth is command and control. After installation, the hacker establishes a remote control connection, allowing them to control the compromised system from a distance. Finally, action. The hacker carries out their ultimate goal, whether it's stealing data, corrupting files, destroying information, or achieving other malicious objectives. Understanding these steps helps us identify where we can put up our defenses. To protect against cyber threats, we use different types of security, each focusing on a specific area of our digital lives. Application security aims to protect software and services. This involves writing secure code, designing applications with strong defenses, and making sure that data input is checked carefully to prevent vulnerabilities. Cloud security focuses on securing infrastructure and applications hosted in the cloud, often using services like AWS, Google Cloud, or Azure. This ensures your data and programs are safe when stored and accessed online. Data and identity security is about ensuring that only authorized individuals can access the system and sensitive information. This involves secure data storage and using methods like multi-factor authentication, or MFA, where you need more than just a password to log in. Mobile device security is dedicated to protecting data on mobile devices, like smartphones and tablets, from unauthorized access, loss, theft, and malware attacks. And network security aims to secure the overall network infrastructure and organizational assets. from intrusions, unauthorized access, and both internal and external threats. It's like guarding the gates and walls of your digital city. What should you do if you think you're facing a cyber attack? There's a set of steps to follow. Starting with identify and defense. The first step is to identify what's happening. You need to trace suspicious activity. This means looking at system logs, checking device performance, is it suddenly slow? And watching user behavior for anything unusual. Also, check for unauthorized access. Look for new user accounts you don't recognize, remote logins, or any unknown RDP access. Finally, try to identify the type of attack. Is it malware, a phishing attempt, or someone trying to get into your network? Knowing this helps you respond correctly. Once you've identified the problem, the next step is to defend. Disconnect infected devices immediately. Isolate affected computers, servers, or network segments. To stop the attack from spreading, disable affected accounts. Lock or delete any suspicious user accounts, backdoors, or RDP sessions that the attacker might be using. Restrict network access. You might need to block malicious IP addresses, change firewall rules, or disable any unused network ports to cut off the attacker's access. After identifying and defending, the next steps in facing a cyber attack are destroy, recover, and strengthen. The next step focuses on destroying the threat. You need to remove malware, run antivirus and anti-malware tools, and perform a forensic analysis to detect and get rid of any malicious software. Revoke unauthorized access. Delete any backdoor accounts the hacker might have installed, and reset any passwords or credentials that were compromised. Finally, update your computer. Implement security updates, operating system patches, and software fixes to close the vulnerabilities the attacker used and prevent future attacks. Once the threat is gone, it's time to recover your systems back to normal. Restore from secure backup. This is where your backups become vital. Make sure the backup you use is clean and uninfected before you restore it. Verify data integrity. Check your files to make sure nothing was altered, stolen, or deleted during the attack. If necessary, you might need to rebuild the affected system. This could mean removing and reinstalling the operating system on the compromised machine to ensure it's completely clean. The final step is to learn from the attack and strengthen your defenses. Improve user authentication. Use multi-factor authentication, or MFA, for all accounts, which means you need more than just a password to log in. Update security policies. Change password policies to require stronger passwords. Implement least privilege access, giving users only the access they need, and add account restriction rules. Improve monitoring. Use tools like CM, security information and event management, and IDs, IPS, intrusion detection and prevention systems. 4 real-time security alerts, helping you spot suspicious activity quickly in the future. Let's discuss specific things you can do when you think you might be facing a cyber attack. One of the first things you should do is activate your antivirus. Antivirus is cybersecurity software, specifically designed to detect, prevent, and remove classic malware like viruses, worms, and trojans from your computers and networks. So, how does antivirus detect viruses? It often uses signature-based detection, which means it looks for known patterns or signatures of viruses. It can also use behavioral analysis, watching how programs act to spot suspicious activities. And it uses heuristic-based detection, which means it applies rules to identify new or unknown malware based on their characteristics. Keeping your antivirus active and updated is a crucial first line of defense. Another critical tool to use is your firewall. You should activate your firewall to protect your computer. So, what is the function of a firewall? A firewall restricts incoming and outgoing traffic on your network. It filters this traffic based on things like IP address, port number, communication protocol, or even the content of the data. It's designed to allow secure traffic that you want, while blocking malicious traffic from reaching your private networks. Essentially, a firewall acts as the first line of defense against cyber attacks, preventing unauthorized access to your computer or network. It's like a guard at the entrance, checking who can come in and go out. Now, let's talk about a powerful tool built into Windows: PowerShell. PowerShell is a command line tool used to automate tasks and manage Windows settings. You might be familiar with Command Prompt. Well, PowerShell is even more powerful because it can run complex scripts and interact directly with many parts of the system. So, what are the advantages of PowerShell in cybersecurity? It can be used to detect unauthorized access or malware by running special commands to check system activity. It helps you manage user accounts and network settings more efficiently, allowing for quicker adjustments when security is at risk. And it can be used to automate security configurations, meaning you can set up scripts to regularly check and secure your system automatically. So, how do you open PowerShell? There are a couple of easy ways. You can press the Windows key and the letter X on your keyboard, and then select Windows Terminal, Admin. This will open it with administrative privileges, which you often need for security tasks. Alternatively, you can search for PowerShell in the Start menu, and then select Run as Administrator once it's open. Here are some examples of basic instructions in PowerShell that can be useful for cybersecurity. Typing get local user will give you a list of all user accounts on your computer. This can help you spot any unauthorized accounts. Typing ipconfig will show you your IP address and network details, which is useful for checking your network setup. Typing get process will provide a list of all running processes on your computer, helping you identify any suspicious programs. And using ping website IP, for example, ping google.com, allows you to check network connections to see if you can reach a website or another device. Here, you can see an example of a basic instruction in PowerShell, demonstrating how these commands appear when typed into the terminal. This powerful tool, once mastered, can be a great asset in managing and securing your computer. And that brings us to the end of our Asean My Cyber Hero 2025 workshop. We've covered a lot today, from the basic building blocks of computers and how networks connect us globally, to understanding cyber attacks, and most importantly, how to defend yourselves and recover if something goes wrong. Thank you for your attention and participation today. We hope you feel more confident and prepared to navigate the digital world safely. Good luck, and we'll see you soon.